I always say the issues are in the tissues, and that's how they show up. So even doing the lymphatic protocol just exactly as it is can actually make people feel lighter and emotionally more repaired and happier. I know that's kind of an odd thing, but when we're dumping those emotional toxins, it really makes a difference.
Welcome to the Myers Detox Podcast. I'm Dr. Wendy Myers, and on this show, we talk about everything related to heavy metal and chemical detoxification, health issues caused by toxins, bioenergetics, one of my favorite topics, and we also talk about more advanced topics in health and a lot of shows out there, and we talk about anti-aging. So this show combines all of that. I'm talking with Dr. Cathy Goldstein, and she has developed a line of frequency-based skincare that combines, all the benefits of botanicals and moisturizers, but you have this added benefit of all these thousands of frequencies that are imprinted in the skincare. And we're going to talk about what those do for you, how they facilitate lymphatic drainage. We talk about Gua Sha. We talk about just a lot of the problems with the med spa treatments that are out there, and we go over the issues with Botox, some of the issues with the radio frequency microneedling, with just facelifts and surgeries and fillers and all these things that people are doing, and the long-term consequences they may not be considering because they want those short-term gains. So we provide some alternatives here. And this is this Tru Energy Skincare line. It's something I've been using for about a year, 18 months now, and really love the results and just want to, educate you guys on, a way that you can, use frequency medicine in a skincare line that can get you the results that you're looking for. So you're not kind of scrambling and fall prey to all this marketing for so many different skin creams and promises made at the med spa that may not pan out. So on our show today, we have Cathy Goldstein. So she is a pioneering expert in quantum energy medicine, facial expression science, and bioadaptive skincare. With nearly 4 decades of experience in integrated medicine, she's redefined beauty and wellness by integrating functional aesthetics, bioenergetic skincare, and neuroaesthetics, proving that true rejuvenation starts at the cellular level. And as the founder of Tru Energy Skincare, the first of its kind bioadaptive skincare system, Cathy has developed energy infused formulations and frequency activated tools designed to optimize cellular communication, fascia and lymphatic health, and emotional expression therapy. Her work challenges conventional beauty practices like Botox and fillers, revealing how facial expression and energy flow impact brain function, neuroplasticity, and aging. You can learn more about her approach to aging beautifully and gracefully at truenergyskincare.com/Myers Body Set. Cathy, thank you so much for joining the show.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a treat to be able to connect with you. We've had such a great synergy with skincare and frequencies. I'm excited to unpack it.
Yes, so why don't you tell people a little bit about your background and how you got into frequency medicine and skincare and then combining those two modalities?
Right. Yeah. It seemed like actually a really unusual segue because when I was about 26, I got really sick and I ended up at the hospital for 3 months, multiple surgeries, almost died a couple of times. And the sledgehammer here, there's no feather. The sledgehammer here was I needed to be focusing more on holistic medicine rather than Western medicine because I was all ready to jump into osteopathic school and things like that. That's more geared in that direction. So totally changed my direction into holistic medicine. I ended up going to acupuncture school. I immediately got into working with neuroemotional techniques and energy medicine and integrating that into everything that I was doing. I was definitely because I think of like this chronic autoimmune disorder, I was treating a lot of really sick people as the last resort, in the whether it's autoimmune or pathogens, just, even anaphylactic reactions and things like that. And then when I was about 49, I had another little segue in direction. And I was visiting a friend in California, and he was in his practice and he was coming down the hallway. And I stood up to meet him in the hallway and I caught myself in the mirror. And I was like, oh my gosh, when did that happen? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was not happy with what I was seeing. I definitely felt like it didn't match like how I felt and what I saw because I'm a practice what you preach kind of practitioner, right? As I know you are. It's like eating well, organic, exercising, doing all the right things. And yet when I looked in the mirror, I was like, what? There's a big disconnect here. So it kind of made me reevaluate the skin, not, and actually I should say not just the skin, the lymphatic system, fascia, and how we hold emotions and our traumas in our body and in our lymphatic system and fascia. So it kind of segued into taking all of the treatments that I was doing in integration with energy medicine, biophoton frequencies, light energy, sound energy, and integrating it into what we very much needed, which is a natural skincare and a natural facelift system. And that's how I kind of segued into skincare with frequency-based skincare. And then, of course, had to move to the body part of that with the lymphatics and repairing the skin on the entire body.
Yeah, I've had those moments too where, I'm happy with the way I look, but, compared to when you're 25, I've definitely had those moments where I'm like, "Holy shit, what is going on here?" And I've read
Right.
that women, they have a spurt of aging at 44 and then again at 60,
Mm,
where the timeline of aging is really accelerated in those windows, so that's something to be aware of.
yeah.
But let's talk about, skincare in general because, since I was a teenager, I've been obsessed with skincare, trying every type of skincare to everything at the department stores, and then trying natural stuff and have just spent, I mean, probably tens of thousands of dollars at this point on these promises in a bottle. Can you talk about the issues with those? Because I'm kind of in the bent that any old cream can moisturize your skin. Whoop-de-doo-dah. It's ever all of them are doing that. And some of them have some actives, but not nearly enough to really elicit the response that you're looking for. And for you creating this frequency-based skincare line, we'll get into what that is in a second, but it's just far and away so much farther advanced than any garbage and any not garbage, but just any products you're gonna buy anywhere. And, so why don't you talk about some of the problems with the skincare today?
Right. Yeah. So that's a huge question, right? Because, and I'll just kind of like, I mean, there's so many aspects to why skincare works and doesn't work, and how it works, and why you can't actually get the most out of it that you're really looking for when you've spent all of this money. Like, what are we actually looking for, right? And it's hard to actually put it in words, but what you do know is when you find something that feels good and you use it, because that's the problem about with buying all of the expensive solutions in a bottle is we're looking for something that we actually will connect with on some level. I know for me, I'm not as diligent as you are on skincare in my history. And it really wasn't until I developed my own skincare that I was enjoyed using it. It felt good on my skin. So really the issues are this. There's three primary things. One of them is that if there's toxins, we're, adding more issues to the problem. And, we can definitely, you and I can go deep into the whole toxins in skincare, and the adverse effects of that on your skin. The other is most skincare really does work just on the surface of the skin. So it's not just having active ingredients, it's the delivery system as well, right? So the delivery system needs to really address the different levels of the body. We need to protect the surface of the skin, but if we use things like coconut oil, a lot of times people will tell me they use coconut oil or or different kinds of heavy oils, that what they do is they protect our skin from the environment, but what they also do is they build up a protective layer like a hide does, right? So you're not only not getting product penetration, you're creating a loss of elastin in this hide that we're experiencing on the surface of the skin. The other so being able to have, a skincare that has a good delivery system. I like oleosome delivery. I like cream and water because our cells are, really based on in water, and I feel like it penetrates more, and then it delivers those nutrients deeper. The oleosome technology is like a seed that holds nutrients, that really releases those nutrients at the different layers of the cells. The last is really having a frequency-based skincare is the game changer. We're talking about really, like you like to call it, the roadmap to cellular health, and that is exactly what it is it's an information substance delivery system where it can retune and recharge our cells to perform like they're supposed to, as well as it helps that product penetration too.
Yes, yeah, and that's, for me, you guys listen to this podcast on a regular basis, I'm very much about bioenergetics, and it's really the first thing that I do for my health, no matter what is going on. And so, I've extended that into why not use skincare that has frequencies imprinted on it? So that's why I was so happy that I met you. I'm like, that just makes total sense. And I use, supplements that have frequencies imprinted on them. And I have frequencies imprinted on my pendants, my harmony pendants. And it just, it just permeates my entire life with everything that I do. It's all frequency based because you're going to get so much more results from what you're doing and your return on investment when you're adding frequency-based elements to what you're doing. And why not apply that to skincare? And so why don't you talk about some of the frequencies that are embedded in your True Energy skincare line?
Okay. So the frequency on an overall base is designed to increase and balance our own vibrational frequency to healthy. So to just kind of start out with what does that look like? Is that if I'm doing acupuncture, I'm working at getting the body to function on its own so it doesn't become dependent on the acupuncture. So what that means is it starts the cells and the meridians and the energy starts working the way it's supposed to so that person can feel their absolute best, get back to their life and have, a hugely fulfilling and resilient lifestyle. So, with the frequencies in the tools, as well as the little green bead that's in every jar, those are not only imprinted with frequencies to deliver, like a perfect performing cell, perfect performing collagen. So we're imprinting, information like collagen production, elastin production, cellular repair, cellular detox, working with the powerhouses of the cell, like the energy base of it, to making sure that those mitochondria are working at their absolute best, right? The other is that it's about the language that the body speaks. So, our body is more carbon-based, right? And it is, like bio being body or life, and photon being light. So our body is biophoton. It's life and light energy. And the what how I make sure that the body understands the language that it communicates with is I use in the multiple different layers of imprinting frequencies. I am using also like that biophoton resonant vibration so that it speaks the same language as the body so that it reads it as well. So that's a huge part of making my reagents that go into those tools as the formulas to communicate. Like tuning a piano, it has to be exactly right. You're using a tuning fork to tune the piano because they have to vibrate at the same frequency where it's perfect, the perfect pitch.
Yeah, and it's just it makes so much sense when you think about it, is you're essentially putting this cream on and has these frequencies imprinted, and that's feeding new information, new operating instructions to your cells. And I think people don't realize, and this is why, a lot of things in mainstream medicine are producing results that a lot of people would like because they're completely ignoring how the body works in the major, in many ways. We have an energy field around our body, about 10 feet in diameter, about, 3 meters or so. And this is a communication highway. There's
Right.
information sent on scalar waves throughout our body. Our heart produces waves. We measure on an EKG. Our brain produces waves, different waves when we're sleeping, different waves when we're awake. This is the body's communication system, essentially. And so why not, harness that concept and feed new instructions to the body to elicit the response that we're wanting, which is younger, more youthful skin.
Right.
And yeah. This show is brought to you by Bon Charge, and I want to take a minute to tell you about one of their amazing products that I'm absolutely in love with. So, there's something I've been doing for about 10 minutes a day, and it's wearing a face mask. But it's not just any face mask, it's this Bon Charge red light face mask, and it's essential to my nightly skincare routine now. And believe me, red light therapy really works. It's well established in the research to improve the appearance of your skin. And how it does that is it penetrates deep into the skin to boost collagen production. It reduces the size of your pores. It reduces inflammation and it eases the signs of aging. Bon Charge's red light face mask makes it so easy to take care of your skin. It's kind of like a mini spa session every night that I'm doing. It can be used easily at home. There's no cord, so you can wear it while you're doing other tasks. Plus, the mask is totally painless and it doesn't heat up, unlike some other beauty anti-aging treatments. Bon Charge's red light face mask has been a game changer and it's part of my everyday skincare routine now. And I'm seeing such great results already from using this mask. My skin is more clear, it seems more plump and fresh and juicy, and my redness and dark blemishes are fading. So there's a very special offer for all of my listeners. Right now, my listeners get 15% off when you order from boncharge.com and use my promo code Wendy at checkout. So this discount applies site-wide. So that's BONCHARGE.com. And you'll also get free shipping and a 12-month warranty. So go now to get this exclusive offer. That's boncharge.com. And with promo code Wendy, you get 15% off. This is one of my secrets to super healthy, young looking skin. I'm trying to reverse the clock. I'm trying to do everything I can to anti-age. And this is one of the secrets in my toolkit.
Right. I mean, aging is natural, right? I mean, there's an aging process, and especially, hormonal changes as we get older. And one of the things that you had mentioned was those critical changes at 40 and 60, which I've hit both of those, I've passed both of those. And it's true. We just decrease our body's ability to have that vibrational frequency perform the way we want it to. So it's kind of like why we do anything for our future is because we want to be able to be our best version of ourselves, right? So we eat well, we exercise. Same thing with your skin. What we do today makes a difference in 10 years, 20 years, 40 years. So your skin's going to look amazing and you're going to be absolutely timeless when you reach your 60s and 70s.
Yeah, and I've been using your product line for I think about 18 months now. I forget if it's a year or 18
At
months.
least,
And
yeah.
I just that it's what I want to use. I have lots of little things in my little, treasure trove cabinet. I get sent lots of things to try and it's great. I'm very thankful for that. But I just want to use your products because it doesn't make sense to me to not use something that doesn't have frequencies. Then
Yeah.
and you have thousands of frequencies
Yeah.
imprinted on your
I
products. You mentioned just a handful of them. But there's much more to it. And I've noticed a market improvement in my skin and in the clarity of it and the firmness and just the texture, and just really am very happy with the results that I've gotten using the facial products and your whole line of body products as well. I
yeah.
love the body cream.
Oh, yeah, I know you do. It's definitely one of your favorites, and, really my philosophy as well as yours is going with nature, not against it, and that's exactly what we're doing is just going with nature.
Yes, yeah. And and back to, what a majority of products out there, they contain perfumes. That's, I was watching this video today that perfumes can have up to 3,000 chemicals in them that you're breathing that in, it's soaking in through your skin. And unless your product says essential oils on it, it's got perfume in it. And then you've got the phthalates, which are basically promoting infertility and hormone disruption and wreaking havoc. And then there's the parabens, the preservatives, which are problematic for your hormones and other things. And that's why everyone's hormones are just a mess today. So you really got to think about this, the claims on the bottle. Those pros can come with a lot of cons that people are just not thinking of.
Very, very true, and I think that, it's the hidden things that make a difference. When we think we're doing the right thing, sometimes, you have to dive a little deeper. Sometimes you just have to have trusted sources because it's tricky. It's tricky. Even just reading a label is tricky.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I mean, I've been reading labels since I was a teenager, and you know, had so naive. I always thought that the government would protect us from harmful chemicals. Like I really thought that. I thought, oh, our government's so amazing. And as a teen, and reading, my Lubriderm bottle and all these long chemical names, and just like, what is that? Like, and unfortunately in the United States market, we are not protected at all. But manufacturers can put anything, and a lot of it's not on the label. If it's just used in the
Well, that's
manufacturing
right.
process, it's not on the label. So, you guys are well versed in all this, so we won't get too deep into that.
Mhm, mhm.
So let's talk about the True Energy. So you call it bioadaptive skincare. Okay, so how is that different from like clean or even organic skincare?
Right. So, the bioadaptive component to it is, like you had just mentioned, there's a lot of chemicals that are hormone disruptors, right? So there's also ingredients that can actually just the opposite, acclimate to our needs. So I like to equate it to what I do in my practice. So if I'm working at giving someone supplements to repair their thyroid, I'm not giving them thyroid hormones. I'm giving them protomorphogens or glandulars to help repair the gland so that it starts functioning as it should. And so it doesn't need supplementing on hormones itself. So the bioadaptive is very much the same way. I also like to call it like functional skincare. So there's two aspects to that. One is giving our cells the nutrients that it needs to perform in a way that's desirable, meaning that you can't shove collagen into the skin. The molecules are usually too large, and the body doesn't even really know what to do with a collagen molecule in a skin cell. What we do instead with our ingredients, with my ingredients with True Energy, is to give it the ingredients that are necessary to build collagen, right? So it's more functional than it is, like corrective, if you will. The other is the bioadaptive is because we're at different places at different times. Sometimes when people first start using the skincare, they've got a lot of cell damage, and the, ingredients will work on that level of cell damage, and repair and protectiveness before it starts, going on those deeper layers. So it really kind of adapts to the higher needs of the skin and where we are at the time so that you don't have to start with a product that is for oily and dry. All that says to me is that your skin's out of balance, and it's about giving the nutrients it needs to balance. So when it repairs, you're still using the same great ingredients to go to all those different layers and levels.
Okay, yeah, that's really, really interesting. Yeah, and so let's talk about detox of the skin. And so
Mm,
and for your face and your body, because
okay.
our skin is our major detox organ, and the health of our skin is reflective of our liver and our bodies, just our detox pathways being open, and our body's just general ability to detox is, you've gone, you can walk around, you can see people and they've got splotchy skin, they're ashen, they have these huge bags under their eyes, or their face is very
Puffy.
swollen,
Yeah.
puffy. So,
Yeah.
so let's talk. Can you talk a little about that?
So in the lymphatic system, or actually in the detox system, you mentioned, the organs that are detox organs. Like you mentioned the liver, the kidneys filter, urine detoxes. So the lymphatic system is the key detox system, not just for the skin, but it's the carrier of the toxins. It dumps the toxins. And there's two levels to the lymphatic system. There's the superficial level that a lot of people think about when they think about dry brushing and lymphatic massage. And then there's a deeper lymphatic system that is integrated through the fascia. And the fascia is like more of a fibrous tissue that covers all of the muscles, all of the glands, all of the organs, really interconnected through the entire body. But the fascia can get damaged when we have a lot of things, when we have physical trauma, emotional trauma, chemical trauma, and all of those things can damage the fat and surgery, right? The physical trauma. All of those things can really damage the fascia, like twisting it or distorting it. And what happens is the lymphatic system can't move. That lymphatic system is relying on the fascia for the smooth flow of getting rid of those toxins. So it's this really amazing synergistic system in not only detox, but also nutrient delivery. The fascia is a collagen producing machine, but the lymphatic system is what delivers it to the cells and the skin. So they really have to be both working and working in synergy. And we have to address not just the superficial, but the deeper layers as well.
Yeah, okay, great. And so let's talk about your body system so that you use to help facilitate detoxification of the skin. Because this is really key. If you want to have healthy looking skin, you have to do things that facilitate skin detox or prevent tons of toxins from having to come out through the skin, which can be evidenced by acne and rashes and things like that. And so you came up with this refreshingly vitalizing skincare cream, which I'm holding right here.
Yes.
And so I just absolutely love this formula because I find like with a lot of lotions, they're either too thin or they're too thick and greasy or they don't absorb. This is just the right mix. And sometimes you put creams on and your skin still feels dry and like what is going on here? So what tell us like why you developed this and what are some of the frequencies in it?
What's really important with the skin is that it's there's I mean, like you said, the skin of the face and the skin of the body, they have this similar, detox processes, but the body is definitely different in the sense that, when we have white spots, which can potentially be mold or like a fungus that we have on our body. A lot of people see that on their legs. There's all these little signs and symptoms that our body will show that might be different than on the face. So like you said, the, puffiness, distortion, creping, puckering, like not, like puckering of the skin, that shows damage. And then also just not smooth, like the texture being kind of bumpy. Um, like you said as well, is like color changes and distortions. Thinness of the skin is an aging process that doesn't have to happen, right? So when I developed the body lotion, it was important for me to have not just something that hydrated the skin on the different levels, but also very corrective. So I have ingredients that are the probiotics of the skin, like the probiotics of your gut. You need probiotics on your skin as well. And also having a triple vitamin C that's protected by an oil, so it's not, becoming its own free radical from light exposure. And that's actually like a what's been phrased as the molecular band-aid. It repairs a lot of damage to the skin, but and on different layers, like, and also that's like sun damage as well as hormone damage, inflammation damage, stress damage. So it really helps to regulate that inflammation process. The other is different things that are not just the probiotics, but also pH balance. Because, a lot of times our skin, especially if people are using antimicrobials, where we're destroying natural skin mantle and our pH, so that, having that correction. But then, of course, with the lots of other active ingredients, but the other is the little green bead in the skincare for the body is about repairing the acupuncture meridians, repairing again, collagen, elastin, refatting, rethickening. I mean, thickening sounds like a weird word, but we do want to replump the cells. Like skin thinning is real. It's not, it's the plumping is what we want. It's what gives us that youthful pop on our cheeks, on our skin. So being able to refat, which is supposedly unheard of with skincare, is refatting. So the frequencies plus the ingredients really do create that refatting.
Yeah, and this is so important, not just for, aesthetic, looks, but your skin is your barrier to the outside world, and you're more susceptible to sunburn when your skin is dry and unhealthy,
That's
doesn't have
true.
antioxidants. You're more susceptible to, critters and bacteria and cooties, parasites and things getting through your skin when it's not healthy. So there's other repercussions as well. And I didn't realize that the products had probiotics in them, but it just makes sense. Your skin has a microbiome. And I think one mistake that a lot of people make is they're using harsh soaps every time that they shower, and they're scrubbing their skin every time they shower because they think, oh, I'm getting clean. I'm supposed to get clean in the shower every day. But they are stripping away their skin microbiome, which is a big mistake, which is I only do that about once a week, where I'm doing this is a loofah just to slough off dead
Excellent.
skin.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people make that mistake, and they don't realize
Hmm.
how important that microbiome is in their skin to make nitric oxide, to regulate blood pressure, and just so many other things.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, great insight on the microbiome protection of the skin. I love that.
I want to take a minute to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Tru Energy Skincare. So they have an amazing serum that I am cuckoo about. I've been using their facial serum here for well over a year for a reason. This is just bar none my favorite product, and it's very, very light. It's just a serum you'll put on under your moisturizer. And the reason I use it is because it's a frequency-based skincare. So they have frequencies imprinted on this serum that improve collagen, improve elastin. Collagen is that support matrix in your skin that makes it look firm and juicy. And we lose that as we age. That accelerates rapidly after we hit menopause. You lose 30% of your collagen within 2 years after menopause. So I'm using everything I can get to improve collagen. And this has over 2,000 frequencies imprinted on it, and that are for skin nutrition to help the appearance of your skin, the fine lines, the age spots, and it will smooth out the texture of your skin as well. And this has been my secret weapon that I've been using to improve my skin, look and feel and health for, like I said, for well over a year. And so I'm not promoting this because they're a podcast sponsor. I'm promoting this because this is one of my secret weapons. I love this product, and I use it every single night under my moisturizer. And this has no toxic ingredients in it whatsoever. And it has lots of nutritive ingredients as well. It's got fruit enzyme extracts. It's got oat kernel extract. It's got oat beta glucans. It's got beech bud extract, and it's got algae and chlorella in it as well. So lots of great nutrition in this, as well as the frequency enhanced aspects of it. Because any old product can moisturize your skin. That doesn't impress me. But the results you get from this are bar none. And that is why I highly recommend it. They have a very good offer for my listeners. Go to trytruenergy.com/Wendy. That's trytruenergy.com/Wendy, and get a very, very special deal for my listeners. Yes. And so let's talk about so you came up with this stone. So let's talk about this body stone and what the purpose of this is. So, a lot of people think of, dry brushing to move the lymphatic system. And so let's talk about that versus using something like this, like your body stone for lymphatic flow.
First of all, the reason why I developed the body stone was for a couple of reasons. One is because I wanted to have a tool that was effective for not just moving lymphatics, but actually repairing lymphatics and the fascia. So, as an acupuncturist, a lot of people are familiar with the concept of Gua Sha. Gua Sha is not what we're doing technically, because Gua Sha actually means flushing, flushing blood and having, a really kind of bruising look. So it's not bruising in any way. So that was I wanted to improve and help repair the lymphatic system in the fascia and move it and detox it as well. The other is because when we hold all of those toxins, we lose our sculpted body. So some of it really was the vanity, if you will, but I think important is resculpting the calf, the butt, not having the chicken wings under the arms, like the bat wings, I guess you call them. A lot of it was really just how do we resculpt? How do we get rid of that belly fat that we're storing full of, toxins and hormone imbalances? So those were my two primary reasons for developing that tool.
Yeah, I can help. What I love how Dr. Mindy Pell say, you want a pit, not a puff,
Yeah,
in your armpit. And if you have a puff, that means, you've got you've got a lymph nodes there. So that means you need to do a little
right.
gua sha,
Right.
gua sha, or whatever you pronounce it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I know the gua sha. How do you pronounce it again?
It is gua sha.
Gua
Yeah.
Sha, yeah, that's it. So, so I know that's really, really popular right now, and a lot of those stones that are used are jade, and those can emit some nice frequencies. Crystals and stones, they have frequencies, but you've imprinted again all these different frequencies onto the stone that are, much more targeted than just a random like, little piece of
Right.
jade. Can you talk about that and what you have imprinted on here?
Yeah, well, and also let's start with the stone itself too, because this was a handpicked concept as well in creating with the Bien stone, Bien stone, because it has its own frequencies and is been shown to emit infrared as well. So it has its own beautiful frequencies in healing, repairing, also for help regulating, into parasympathetic healing, and then imprinting all of the things that repair the lymphatic system, which are thousands of things because it's not just about, oh, repair the lymphatic system as a concept. To repair the lymphatic system, you every little part of the cell has to be addressed, including how it makes energy, how it detoxes, and how it forms its new cells. So all of those are like upregulations, downregulations, DNA imprinting and coding and things like that. So it's like this major coding of all of these different frequencies in repairing the lymphatic system and the fascia as well. Also, because you're running it on all of your acupuncture meridians when you use it, it was really important to make sure that that was balancing the acupuncture meridians too. So it's this great little combination of the stone itself and the imprinting, and then the protocol in exactly how you use it to make sure that you're going towards the heart, that you're not missing acupuncture meridians, that you're touching all the acupuncture points, doing the lymphatic system of the brain, which is the lymphatic system of the brain, making sure that's detoxing. That's a key part for getting rid of brain fog and memory loss and things like that.
Yes, yeah, and yeah, we'll get into that in a second, but I think it's a lot of people are not doing lymphatic drainage. So they are, there's a lot of people out there, they have, especially older women and men, their liver's not working so good. They have puffiness in the ankles, and just generally feel like they're retaining water, so to
Right.
speak. But
Right.
really it's that lack of lymphatic flow, which
Yep.
you're not going to get if you're not walking, if you're not exercising, if you're not doing a sauna or something that's, going to, just facilitate that lymphatic flow, microcirculation. Can you talk a little bit about that? And it's so important, I think, for people who maybe whatever reason they can't exercise or whatever's going on with them. At least you can get, facilitate that lymphatic flow with using the body stone.
Right, right, right. Yeah, and it's the detox system is like any sewage system. It has pipelines, right? So if and they can get backed up, they flow direction and they can get backed up in the other direction. So if your liver you're trying to, like let's say you are doing a liver detox, let's say you are doing liver packs and things like that, and you're not addressing the lymphatic system, then where's it going to go? It just keeps trying to dump into the lymphatic system to get rid of it, and that's already backed up. So here you are detoxing and possibly even feeling worse because it's not dumping out of your body. And I think that is really a key component for anybody who's starting a detox process is that you want to feel good going through the detox process rather than feeling like crap, which a lot of people do. And you can have like a little brain fog and, a little fatigue and things like that. But if you're moving the lymphatic system, if you're drinking plenty of water, if you're exercising, then you can go through a detox process without feeling horrible. So I think like you mentioned is if you can't do one thing, figure out another thing. And I think that even if you are able to move your body, even if you are doing, a sauna and sweating and things like that, or if you can't, mobilize as much, I feel like it's really key to have like the physical movement of that as well.
Yeah, and if anyone is interested in learning more about the body lotion and the body stone and the other products that you have, you want to go to truenergyskincare.com/Myers body set. So True is TRU energyskincare.com/MYERS body set. So just go to that link, check that out and learn more. And so let's talk about the protocol. So what do you recommend people do with, using the body lotion, using the Gua Sha body stone? How often should they be doing that?
Right. So I feel like detox should be a daily thing, as well as I know you do too. We're exposed to toxins all the time, whether it's outside toxins or inside toxins, it happens, right? Um, so I do feel like it should be a daily thing. However, um, when people first start, if they're not used to detoxing, I generally will let people know, just go a little bit slower, like maybe you want to do 3 times a week. But once you start the system, it becomes like a routine and an easy flow. So for me personally, I like to take a shower, just pat dry, put the body lotion on, and do the stone right in the shower, so that I'm hydrating, I'm cleansing, I'm hydrating, and then I'm moving that lymphatic system and repairing it all in, 5 minutes after a shower. So you shower 5 minutes it takes to do the body lotion and the stone, especially once you become comfortable with that, and you're set for the day. At night, I like to actually have a second stone because at night I like to keep a stone next to the bed to do my scalp and my upper back because the brain detoxes at night, mostly when we're sleeping. So I would like to make sure that my brain has the opportunity to dump as many toxins as it can, because who can afford to have toxins in a brain anyway at all? So, and I notice that I don't think as clearly if I'm not addressing the, toxins. So this really is a routine that I've had one stone in the shower, one stone in at next to my bed, and I'll do my body in the morning when I take a shower and my scalp at night before I go to bed.
Yeah, and it's so important to be paying attention to the lymphatic system. I mean, I've gone to pretty extreme lengths to facilitate that brain toxin drainage, essentially. It's the lymphatic system of the brain. So I bought a Semina bed that has a 3% incline. So that's facilitating that drain from the head, down to the feet. And then I'm using your stone at night, and you're gonna want to focus like, in this area, below the ears as well. And I'm doing chiropractic care so that my vertebrae aren't out of alignment. I do TRT protocol with a chiropractor, which is not, a manual adjustment. It's an energetic adjustment again. And just making sure that everything's in alignment so that nothing is impeding that drainage at night, which is it's just so key. It's so important.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, I love that.
So why don't you tell us about a few stories of some of the clients that you worked with and some of the results that they've gotten after using your True Energy system?
Right. Some of these stories are so good. I actually want to just take a second to kind of bring up a couple of them.
Yeah, and even on that link that I told you guys to go to, the truenergyskincare.com/Myers body set, there's tons of before and after photos there that you can look at. They're not touched up or anything, but it's really dramatic after 60 days of using the program, how different people's skin looks after that.
Oh, yes. Let's actually talk about cellulite.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, yeah, we forgot about that.
Well, I thought of that because, we had a client that had stubborn cellulite, and she actually was doing like detox, and she was doing just the lymphatic massage, and it just wouldn't budge. And like even doing exercise and diet and things like that. So she started using the system consistently for 30 days. Isn't an overnight process, with the buildup of cellulite, and the dimpling started disappearing and softening. And as she continued to use it, that really smoothed out. And not only did her legs feel better for, like, all the water retention and the cellulite, but it was the energy flow that returned to her legs that made such a huge difference for her, where she was, I mean, just more energetic, because you don't have this sluggish, heavy feeling in your legs. So that was one. The other is, we talk about, emotional toxins, and that also I feel like is a huge topic for me in my practice, because I do a lot of emotional work, and how that shows up in our facial expressions and in our body in general, because I always say the issues are in the tissues, and that's how they show up. So, even doing the lymphatic protocol just exactly as it is can actually make people feel lighter and emotionally more repaired, lighter and happier. I know that's kind of an odd thing, but when we're dumping those emotional toxins, it really makes a difference.
Yeah, and I had something to contribute there also. I definitely, like everyone, we have cellulite, and I used to have two people come to my house that were doing cupping, and they do, put some oil on you and then drag the cups along your thighs and whatnot, and it's really painful, but it works. I mean, it's like physically pulling and separating the fascia and like breaking everything apart, and that's great. But who has this is in Mexico, so it was like $50 and I was like, awesome. But here, US, it's going to be way more than that. And good luck finding someone to come to your
Yeah.
house. But
Yeah.
and it's
Right.
painful as well.
And you
So
do a bunch of them. You're
yeah,
doing
you
a
have
bunch
to
of them.
keep doing them over and
Yeah.
over. It's just like the endless, never-ending story. But it's so much easier to do the body stone that has the frequencies in it, and you're gonna get better results because there's so many, like I said, there's so many different frequencies in it. You're getting all these other benefits, just besides just the cellulite reduction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that is, a really key component to lasting benefits. When you're talking about a lot of the things that are more symptomatic based or superficial or physically just moving the lymphatic system, but it's really about what happens in the underlying tissues that make a real difference in our overall well being and health and our resilience.
Yes, yeah. And so, do you have any other testimonials or people from using the body cream?
So I have a woman who was, and actually this applies for perimenopausal, postmenopausal. There's different components to that, like needing the skin repair. This is where the combination with the lotion and the stone make a huge, huge difference. Is being able to use the body lotion for repair of the actual cells, and then because a lot of the perimenopausal and or postmenopausal aspects of decreasing collagen, you're increasing collagen production, and then also from just postmenopausal is that water retention, the inflammation, all the things that go with the adverse effects to our skin, sagging, thinning, creping, all of those. So the combination of this, of the body lotion and the stone, this specific woman was saying that her body felt more defined, and her mind felt clearer, and again, she didn't feel puffy or, as what she said, disconnected. So that's that emotional component, and disconnected from your body. You know how if you're feeling really bloaty, just even in your belly, but imagine the bloaty through your whole skin and just that disconnected just doesn't feel like you. So that reconnecting with yourself is a key part of that too.
So this episode is brought to you by Chef's Foundry. They've got a fantastic line of cookware called P600. It's totally non-toxic. I think people don't realize that when they're cooking, most people's cookware is adding toxins to their healthy food, that people spend so much money on healthy organic food and then cook it in toxic cookware. And so that includes cast iron, which I do not recommend. It adds way too much iron in a form that we can't absorb. People use aluminum cookware, which is very inexpensive, and it's used at most restaurants, giving us tons of aluminum. People are also using ceramic cookware, which can leach toxins into your food. And not to mention the nonstick cookware. It just has so many PFAS or PFAS that is so toxic. It's one of the forever chemicals. So you really have to pay attention to what you're cooking in. So that's why I recommend the P600 line by Chef's Foundry, so that you can have peace of mind when you're cooking and you're not getting any nasty chemicals like lead or cadmium or nickel or PFAS in your healthy food. You can get a special discount for my listeners by going to bit.ly/Myers Detox. So that's bit.ly/Myers Detox, Myers Detox, to get an exclusive discount just for my listeners. I want you to be thinking about what you're cooking your food in, and I highly recommend the P600 line by Chef's Foundry. Yeah, and when women hit menopause, like I hit menopause, I think it's 47, 47, 48. And within 5 years of hitting menopause, you'd lose 30% of the collagen in your skin. And then I guess a couple of years after getting into menopause, I started noticing my skin started getting really crepey. Like it would just, you have some pressure on it or something, and it would just, turn into like origami, essentially. It's just, I was like, what in the hell is happening to me?
Right.
But after I started using your system, had such a nice plumping of the skin. I had a dramatic reduction in that happening, which for me, I was like, okay, I am like sold, because I've used lots and lots of lotions, and I did not,
Right.
I didn't have that. You might have for like a second, you have a little bit of plumping, but a lot of the lotions out there, they just have silicone in them. They have silicone in them, especially the facial products that just fill in the lines
Mhm,
temporarily,
mhm.
and your skin feels really silky smooth, and like, oh my God, my skin feels so smooth. But it's just the silicones, and the more expensive products have more expensive, higher quality grades of silicone. So you really have to be aware of that. And it's just a way that manufacturers trick you into thinking that's your actual skin texture when it's not.
Yeah, that's true, and it's temporary, and then not only that, but you're, gonna clog the pores, or it's the long-term adverse effects. When we talked about what happens to your skin and what you do to your skin today and tomorrow make a huge effect of how that looks in the future. And so with using those synthetics that are like filling in lines, or higher light reflection and things like that, those are, even if they're natural, they're still not beneficial uh, ingredient. So it's more like the pony show kind of ingredient, not really an ingredient that, protects the skin barrier and hydrates, increases cellular repair, increases antioxidant protection, increases that energy flow and that bioadaptive resilience that our skin needs with both, the ingredients, that frequency-based little green bead that just are so, so, so beneficial for amplifying the effects of the skincare itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And then let's talk about breast health
Ugh.
because, our we need lymphatic flow in our breasts. We've got tons of lymph nodes in our breasts and, a lot of women have, various issues with their breasts. They've had, surgeries. And for me, I've had implants put in and then a corrective surgery and then them taken out and there's just like a mess. And so when you have all that scar tissue, where so many women have implants or they just have fibrocystic breast or they have
Mhm.
different things going on. Can you talk about how your body set system can help with breast health?
Yeah, so actually, this is really a topic that I feel like is very, very important and valuable, especially with, the direction of, our health, when it comes to breasts. So I feel like every woman and man, but should be doing something to move the lymphatic systems around the breast and the breast tissue because even if it's not surgery, even if it's not like, cystic, what about a bra? What about just our general clothing, like even a sports bra? There's women who sleep in sports bras.
I used to
And
do that. I used to do that
right.
thinking that I was gonna prevent sagging, and all I was doing was cutting off circulation and lymphatic flow, and it's the biggest mistake that you can make.
Yes, yes, it's the dress to kill, concept of underwire bras and, pushing them higher, upper, together. Um, and so all of those things are cutting off a primary part of the lymphatic system, which is from around the outside of the breast, underneath the breast, the outside of the breast, and up into the armpit. And that when you trap that, you're talking about toxins that can morph into yeast, into viruses, into like even like a fungus because it's just stagnant energy and chi. Plus, you're really breaking down a system that is supposed to help to detox and I mean we do actually know at this point that when we test it, uh, breast milk, it has tons of chemicals in it, including microplastics. So it really is a strong indication of a representation of all the toxins our body takes in, and the breast, because it's, fatty tissue and a hugely integrated lymphatic and vascular system and fascia, that it really is an amplified area of storage. And so being able to have a tool that detoxes through the breast area in the armpit, the protocol addresses that specifically. I think it's fundamental. It's prevention. It's breast health, breast care. I moms who have daughters who have moms, this is so, so important.
Yeah, and part of my breast health routine is, I do your system. I'm doing that, and I do castor oil as well on my breast because that can break up, it breaks up stones, calcifications, helps to break down scar tissue and things like that. And especially if you have scar tissue, that will attract calcifications, that will attract heavy metals and toxins. They just kind of gravitate towards scar tissue. And so it's really important to get that moving and, and break that up. And so it's just, for me, it's just one of my essential components of breast health. And I do sonocine breast exams. Like I don't do mammograms because of the radiation exposure, but sonocine is, a great screening tool. That's a moving ultrasound. It's a filmed ultrasound. And it could detect breast cancer, 5 to 10 years before a mammogram. So that for me, that's part of, again, part of my breast health care. Just a little sideways there, a little
No, it's
tangent.
good. No, it's
Uh,
good. People wanna know what you're doing for
yes,
sure.
yeah, yeah, and I've done thermography before, but I think the sonocine is
Mhm.
much. It's just better. It's just more
Right.
accurate.
Right, right,
It gives you more information.
right. I was just gonna say, in Chinese medicine, the liver is a big part of storing blood, as well as it helps in with the detox system. We've talked about the physical liver, but in Chinese medicine, so that acupuncture meridian actually goes right up underneath the breast and stops right at the breast tissue. So it's interesting how, the through the acupuncture meridians and using the stone protocol, you're clearing all of those meridians that are, you know, vital to being able to really repair that system.
Yes, yes, yeah. And let's talk about some like the typical, beauty things that people are doing at med spas, because this is a, super popular topic. I want to talk about it because there's just a lot of things that people are doing at med spas, a lot of very expensive things, just dying to be beautiful. And,
Right.
women are doing like Botox and fillers. And can you talk a little about that and some of the problems with those?
Yeah. So, that's actually kind of that's act so there's let me talk first about the what we're doing to our body from, I'll say, from the neck down. We're trying to use heat, we're trying to do ice, we're trying to do, lipo, we're cutting, we're, lifting, we're all of those things are really push, 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 push. I really feel like how we're going to not only best nurture a system is to create flow as opposed to like physically, just like even with the heat, there's controversy with that. Like, does heat really help cellulite or does it actually make it worse? Does cold actually help, the muscle tone and decreasing cellulite? Some people say it makes it worse. In Chinese medicine, cold causes stagnation. Certainly, liposuction has shown that if you use liposuction in an area, because of the nature of how our body repairs, it creates other cells that hold the cellulite just in a different area or even in that same area around the scar. So it's so against nature that I think that that's kind of where, for me, it's like, okay, what am I thinking about doing? And is it going with nature or against nature? And really kind of thinking through that. When it comes to Botox and fillers and things like that, this is definitely an area that I'm very vocal in because I feel like, when you're using Botox on the face, you're decreasing your facial expressions. When you decrease your facial expressions, you're decreasing your communication with your brain, with your actually, limbic brain. So what does that mean, right? So what that means is that if you and I are having a conversation and you're expressing this really heartfelt scenario that you're in, my facial expressions are actually mirroring yours so that my brain can interpret what you're feeling. And then I can be, compassionate, sympathetic, empathetic. And so a lot of people think that we're mirroring it because our brain's telling us to make those facial expressions, but it's actually the other way around. So when we can't make the facial expressions, we're decreasing our own communication in reading people on those what's called a soft skill, and decreasing our connection and your connection with me because I'm not responding as far as you can tell. I'm not making facial expressions if I have Botox or fillers or there's a distortion. And at that point, you're like, okay, that was really unfulfilling, and you're going to disconnect from me. So it's a huge, huge um, topic that is really not talked about. That when we have mental health issues at the level that we do, when one in three people say that they're lonely, when 65 or 75% of those people say that they have insignificant relationships, we are not connecting. And yet, Botox is $1 billion industry, just even, I mean, 2 years ago, $1 billion industry, and it's way more accessible now. So we're really conditioned to think that when we want to solve a problem, we can do Botox. And it totally disregards the phases of life and what we offer as we are in each of those different phases. So I'm all about going again with nature and not against it to create the best possible outcome and to be timeless rather than just shutting down my facial expressions, um because I feel like that's a big part of not only who I am but how I relate to people as well. So And we've all, I mean, maybe not all of us, but I've certainly considered Botox. I mean, when I turned 49 and I start researching all the things that were, possible or what I could do before I start thinking about what I am already doing, I thought, should I be doing Botox? Is that where I'm at? And I'm 65 now, and I feel like I am way more repaired, and my face looks more youthful now than it did at 49. So, yeah, that's a big topic for me that I'm super passionate about. And just really even just having solutions, I don't care if it's face yoga or I mean, I do, but whatever it is to just, find something that you resonate with.
Yeah, and not to mention the nervous system effects that Botox can have
Yeah.
on some people. Like people, I have a really funny story. I had in college, I went to business school at USC, and my thesis was a franchise chain of Botox clinics, which I just thought was brilliant at the time. And now that has completely come to pass. Like there's Botox in every corner. There wasn't in at that time. And I had to present it, and the woman I had to present it to was one of the donors of the school. And one of her eyes was completely down.
Oh.
And she saw my thesis and she's like, I had Botox and now my eyelid has been paralyzed for 9 months. And I thought, well, I'm not winning the prize for best
Yeah.
business plan. I don't think,
Right,
not
right.
from her at least. That was what I was trying to accomplish. But
No.
yeah, so you have that potential for
Right.
the Botox to migrate,
Yep.
and some people get very serious neurological
Mm.
debilitating side effects, and you don't know if that's
Yeah.
going to be you.
No, you
Mhm.
don't. It's a big risk. And not only that, but you're paralyzing through the nerve, the muscle, and if you keep doing that, the muscle will atrophy. So the long-term effects of an atrophied muscle when it's not the kind of muscle that you can work out in your body, it's hard to work out the muscles in your face. So the actual repair part of that can be challenging.
Yeah, yeah, and there's new videos coming out, like the Meek, one of the inventors of Botox. I'm not exactly sure what her position was, but she was saying that, that Botox you inject it will circulate through the body, get in your brain, and can affect the part of your brain for empathy. And which is concerning. And when I was 25, I was dating a plastic surgeon and he wanted to do surgery on me. I was like, no, 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 no. He's like, oh, here, let me just give you some Botox. And so he did. I was
Mhm.
25, he did some Botox on me. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm going to
Yeah.
prevent my wrinkles, I'm going to
You're
prevent them. And I did it every 4 months
right.
for you know a long time until I got
Right.
pregnant with my daughter. So that essentially makes me a serial killer, because I I have done a lot of Botox in my day for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, that it can affect your empathy centers. I don't really feel like I've
Y
been affected so much in that area, but
yeah.
it's a concern. We don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that there is something to be said for migration. I mean, we're talking about, if you can put skincare on with a toxin and have it show up in your liver and your blood system, and you're injecting a toxin, why wouldn't it migrate? Why wouldn't it? Show up, possibly show up someplace else. So it makes sense when you think about it. But you're not alone in that whole process either. There's a lot of women who have done Botox and they are looking for an alternative because they don't really want to give up looking amazing. And I get that. It's aging is a process of really making sure that we're enjoying ourself and our life and how we look. So being able to look in the mirror and feel good about what you see and walk out into the day with that kind of energy is really kind of my motto is I want you to feel great about yourself when you walk out, of your house every day. And the reality of it is there's some people who won't go to coffee with their friends because they don't like what they see when they look in the mirror.
Yeah, there's a lot of women
S-
hiding. There's a lot
Yeah.
of women hiding,
Yes.
from
Yes.
dating or their lives, and because they just
Right?
feel ashamed
Yeah.
about what they look like, especially in our
Right.
Instagram age, all these stupid filters and
Right.
everything.
Right, that's actually my goal is to, change the message. Change the message that, to be able to be a CEO, to be able to go out and date, to be able to, be and look and feel amazing. You have to compete with a 30-year-old when you're 60 or a 20-year-old when you're 40. It's just like not the message that I think is very um, nurturing.
Yeah, and I think there's there's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of medical interventions and surgical interventions, facelifts and
Mhm,
things like that that
mhm.
women are turning to at younger and younger ages. But, it's really important, I think, to start at DEFCON 1, before you go to DEFCON 5 to just go to do surgery, which is incredibly invasive. I think women don't realize
Right,
how long it takes to recover from that and complications, nerve damage, and things like that. It doesn't always turn
right.
out like Lindsay Lohan. But, it's important to, start at these baby steps and do as much as you can to preserve your skin with, nutrition, hydration,
Mhm.
and this frequency-based skincare like you develop so that you can look as good as possible so that you're not feeling like you need to go to those interventions and, go get
Right,
the Botox and the filler and the this and all these different micro frequency things. And, there's so many things that people are being sold that are
right,
expensive, painful, and do not work. It's
right.
really shocking.
Yeah, yeah, you're not that is true. It's, you make a very good point is they might seem like they work for the moment being, and you either need to consider the adverse effects of it, or they might work for the time being, but you that also means that you have to keep doing it, and it's costing thousands of dollars to, keep up on some of the technology part of, going against nature.
Yeah, and there's a lot of marketing and hype around,
Mm,
I won't name any names, but different radio frequency microneedling devices. And I've known people that have done that and their fat pads are gone under their eyes. They've destroyed fat, burned it away underneath their skin. And as you get older, that's the last thing that you want. You're gonna want to retain all that fat is as much as possible because it starts to whittle away. You start to kind of, I don't want to say shrivel up, but your tissues and your skin starts to decline. So you don't want to get your buccal fat removed. You don't want to do that. You don't want to burn away the fat underneath the surface of your skin. And a lot of doctors are not really giving that informed consent that may be what's happening.
no, and then the skin folds when you do that, and now you've got loose skin too, and, the people think that the fat's migrating down into that jawline, that's not the issue at all. So, yeah, there's I think that's a really interesting, um, topic because I actually being an acupuncturist, microneedling, is a big thing, and, for me, my perception is that if I think about it, I think, okay, if you poke a needle in the skin multiple times, what does the body have to do? Well, initially it's going to produce, collagen to repair, but then what's going to happen when you are keep damaging it or that it becomes more damaged? It creates microscarring. What is microscarring? Congested collagen that shows a loss of elastin. So now it doesn't have the give and the resilience and the flexibility that a cell should have. So you're getting exactly opposite of what you want. And I think that is where you're talking about with all of these different techniques or interventions. What's the long term effect on that? Like when people did peels, chemical peels, I can tell when someone's done a few chemical peels. I can see it. I can see the poor, uh, um, the surface of their skin is so disrepaired
And they look
that
waxy, like people that do
yeah.
that carbon dioxide laser, like everyone that's doing the facelifts, they typically do the carbon dioxide laser and their skin, they look like they're a wax museum or some of their
Mhm.
skin. It just has this very unnatural look to it.
Right, right, and it's, I think it's the thinning, so of the layers. So it's yeah, it's amazing how much money is spent to pull us in, as women on feeling like, "Oh, I should do this, I should do that, I should do this," when really just let's get back to the basics. Let's get to the, nature, using frequencies, using something that your body actually can communicate with. So we're obviously on the same, we're preaching to the choir here with you and I on this topic, right?
Yeah, and less is more. I think
Mm,
with everything, like I've seen people just go really crazy at the med spa and they're getting the fillers and then the
mm,
lips and then, in other places. And then years later, it's migrating or they have
mm,
the skin is stretched out and then as the filler kind of starts to fade or migrate, their skin is loose and they have to keep doing it and they get all the scar tissue and their lips
right.
and
Yeah. I've worked
it
with a lot of
just
people like that.
it creates a
Hmm.
mess, and then at some point, they need, surgical intervention. They have to do a
Right.
facelift to clean it all up, and
Yeah.
it's very difficult to repair that. So, yeah, you need to think long
Long
term
term.
about that maintenance and the repercussions of that. But, yeah, less is more. I know other people that they're doing all kinds of peels, and they're doing glycolic acid, and they're doing their retinol, and they're doing, like, the scrubs, and they're just, um going too crazy with
Right.
all of these different options out there that then they
Yeah.
think, "Oh, I'm doing my skincare, I'm upgrading my
That's right.
skincare,"
That's
and
right.
they're just doing way too much and harming their skin in the
Yeah,
process.
it's a big promise. It's a big promise that we're led to. But what I can say about that is that it's never too late. Even if you've done a lot of work, it's never too late because you can always, if you're using frequency medicine, you can always reverse, you can repair, you can reconnect, not only with yourself, with other people. And really, I've had a lot of women who've had scarring from fillers, like either around their lips or under their eyes, and they are very happy with the results that they're getting with the scarring not puckering or decreasing the line of the scar. You can't see it. So I feel like it's just never too late because anything you do that's going to take you in the direction of just repairing is good.
So, for anyone listening that really wants to detox their body, go to heavymetalsquiz.com. I created a quiz for you. It only takes a couple of seconds. Based on some lifestyle questions, you can get your toxicity score and get a free video series that answers all of your frequently asked questions about how to detox your body. Check it out, heavymetalsquiz.com.
Yeah, yeah, and I highly recommend, in my opinion, with because I used to want to be a dermatologist, and I've been obsessed with skin since I was a teenager, and doing a lot of different things. Thank God, I just had a couple bad experiences at the med spa, and that I was like, nope, I'm done, and I just stepped away from all of that. But I think it's really, really important to do a frequency based skincare like this for your face and your body so that you can maintain and look as good as you possibly can for as long as you possibly can before you consider those things. At some point it's there are options for people, facelifts and things like that, but you still have to take care of your skin even after you get a facelift. But I think this type of system you can't beat it as far as the benefits you're getting from the embedded enhanced frequencies.
Yeah, I would agree with that because I saw the difference when it worked in my practice using energy and frequency medicine, and I certainly in the many years I've been, working with clients and customers with True Energy have amazing before and afters that are showing, women even in their 85, I have a woman who's 85. She just sent me some after photos. I was like, "Oh my gosh, she looks like she's 20 years younger." I had another woman send me her 70th birthday, um, photo, and, she just raves about how people tell her how amazing she looks and, she hasn't aged, a year, let alone a decade, when she sees friends that she hasn't seen for a while, so I I I agree, doing the best you can with what you've got, but making sure you use your tools is a key part of that.
Yes, yeah, and it's consistency is key. It's like with
Mhm.
anything,
Yeah,
you reap what you sow, you get what you invest in something. And so you
right.
guys want to try this body set, the Gua
Mhm.
Sha body stone that are handled with frequencies and the skincare. Go to truenergyskincare.com/Myers body set. That's TRU energyskincare.com/MYERS body set. And so that's where you're gonna gotta get this treasure trove of tools. And like I said, I've been using it for like a year, 18 months, and just absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. That's why I wanted to have you on the podcast and also educate people about all this stuff, because I think that it's very overwhelming. There's a lot of confusion. There is a lot of marketing. There are a
Mhm.
lot of med spas out there, all these Groupons, and just there's all this temptation to go,
Parties.
ooh, I should go try this stuff. But
Right.
you've got to be careful, because people can and do get have major problems. They get permanently scarred. They're doing all kinds of stuff, or and they spend a lot of money to not get the results they're seeking. But again, so Cathy, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate your time and energy, and your just really deep expertise on this subject. I've had a lot of people come on about skincare, and you really kind of explain things, like take things to the next level. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I so appreciate, always connecting with you. It's always a great conversation and, energy medicine and all of the things that are out there. So thank you so much. I
Yeah, it's one of
appreciate
my
that.
favorite things. Energy
Yeah.
medicines is one of my favorite thing. I'm obsessed with frequencies. I'm surrounded by frequency, like doohickeys and tools and software. Right now, I've got my weight loss program, frequency program running on my Spooky
Oh.
2 right now.
Mhm, mhm.
Doing all kinds of stuff. So again, everyone, I'm Dr. Wendy Myers. Thanks for tuning into the Myers Detox podcast, where every week I'm bringing experts from around the world to help you make those distinctions, help you make those good choices for your health, because I want you to feel good. I want you to live a long, healthy, disease-free, medication-free life, and have the highest quality of life for as long as possible, and look good doing it too. So thanks for tuning in.
The Myers Detox podcast is created and hosted by Wendy Myers. This podcast is for information purposes only. Statements and views expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Wendy Myers and the producers, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. Individuals on this podcast may have direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.